Over the Mother of Parliaments, over the historic Thames, shone a warm April sun. It was the birthday of the crowned head of the Commonwealth, happily coinciding with the state opening of Parliament. Lord Montgomery, a valiant servant of the Queen, carried the sword of state. As the royal arrival drew near, the imperial crown was conveyed by the Lord Great Chamberlain to Her Majesty's robing room. Everything on this state occasion bore the stamp of tradition. The sovereign's escort and the Irish coach approaching the House of Lords, as kings and queens have done throughout many reigns. At the Palace of Westminster, the Queen was once more meeting the peers and commons of her realm, at the birthplace of constitutional monarchy. The Lord Great Chamberlain stood waiting as the Duke of Edinburgh assisted Her Majesty from the coach. Again, by traditional observance, the Earl Marshal, the Duke of Norfolk, and the Marquess of Cholmondeley walked backwards before the sovereign up the stairs towards the royal gallery. Recorded now on colour film is a chapter of the histories of tomorrow for future generations to consult. In the chamber of the upper house, the lords spiritual and temporal awaited the monarch. Dignitaries from far-off Commonwealth countries were among the privileged spectators. Assembled too were members and relatives of the royal family. Princess Margaret, the Duchess of Gloucester, Princess Marina, and the Duchess of Kent. Now from the robing room came the procession. In the traditional description of the ceremony, of the Queen's Most Excellent Majesty. Slowly through the gallery, the royal and stately procession approached the chamber of the House of Lords. There stood the throne of Great Britain, the Gothic chair always used by the sovereign at the opening and prorogation of Parliament. At its left was the chair of the Duke of Edinburgh. On its right, the place where, in the not distant future, will stand the chair of the Prince of Wales.
My lord, pray be seated.
The gentleman usher of the Black Rod was commanded to summon hither the members of the lower house. And awaiting him were the Queen's faithful commons, on this occasion united and at peace with each other. These are indeed historic pictures, for this was the first time that newsreel cameras had been permitted in the House. As a reminder of the days when the Commons had to protect themselves against the encroachments of the monarch, the door was slammed to, barring the entrance of Black Rod. Having begged admittance, Black Rod was allowed to enter. While approaching the Speaker, He bowed 3 times.
Mr. Speaker, the Queen commands this Honourable House to attend Her Majesty immediately in the House of Peers.
Mr. Speaker led the Assembly in obedience to the Queen's summons. Members of the government are on the left of the picture, the opposition on the right. All this regal pageantry had led up to the main purpose of the ceremony, the Queen's speech. It is written by the government to outline its policy in the forthcoming session. In olden times, the King would ride to Parliament to acquaint the 2 houses of his commands. Time restricts this film to the use only of extracts of Her Majesty's speech.
My Lords and members of the House of Commons, my government, in cooperation with the other members of the Commonwealth and with our allies, will continue to work for peace and security in all parts of the world through support for the United Nations. A particular concern of my ministers will be to use all available means to achieve a negotiated settlement of the conflict in Vietnam. My government will pursue the policy of bringing the illegal regime in Rhodesia to an end, so that a peaceful and lasting constitutional settlement, based on the rule of law and acceptable to the Rhodesian people as a whole, can be achieved. You will be invited to approve a measure designed to promote greater safety on the roads. Bills will be introduced to relieve the domestic ratepayer and reorganize exchequer grants to local authorities, to establish a new system of exchequer subsidies for local authority housing, and to assist those of modest means in buying their homes. My Lords and members of the House of Commons, I pray that the blessing of Almighty God may rest upon your councils.
Evidently, a long and controversial program lies ahead in Westminster. In these times of change, some things do not change but remain permanent. In the manner of her predecessors, the Queen went to Westminster.